in brightest day.
In blackest night.
I have the ability to ban anything I don't like. Welcome to Soy Boy Reviews, where we bravely review offensive film content from the lens of intersectionality.
All in an effort to get them banned and hopefully erased from history.
Today, we're reviewing Forrest Gump, a highly offensive nuclear explosion of ableism,
Well, you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dane.
white supremacy,
He started up this club called the Ku Klux Klan.
and worst of all, American exceptionalism.
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is as stupid does, sir.
We had the displeasure of watching this coming-of-age intolerance, and oh boy, are we triggered.
Directed by this prick, who's most famous for this ageist film, decided to direct an ableist film this time around, produced by a group of terrorists in a mountain.
The film begins with an elegant white feather flowing innocently through the air. This is where the director fails to convince us and the rest of the audience that white people are not inherently evil. The feather lands on the boot of our piece of shit protagonist, sitting at a bus stop mansplaining to a woman of color.
Do you want a chocolate?
I don't know why he's trying to roofie her, but then again, he's a
Forrest Gump begins to oppress this woman by harassing her with his tale of white privilege. He boasts to her how his family can afford health care, a nice big house where people actually pay to stay there, and good schooling regardless of his IQ.
Forrest is right here.
But my boy Forrest is going to get the same opportunities as everyone else.
Is that Mr. Gump? Mrs. Gump?
Hear that sound? That's the sound of the white privilege train. Choo-choo! Hell, he even goes for the gold by telling the woman he's a direct descendant of the Ku Klux Klan.
But he's not just a racist from Alabama, he's also a sexist from Alabama.
Are you coming along?
Mama said not to be taking rides from strangers.
No woman's a stranger. They are our mothers, grandmothers, daughters, sisters, and queens. When Forrest gets on the bus, none of the kids will let them sit with him because straight white males are trash. The only individual to offer Forrest a seat is Jenny, the real heroine of the movie. Another stunning and brave character, she proves that women are a beacon of tolerance.
Are you stupid or something?
Jenny teaches this Alabama butthead how to climb trees, read books, and how to effectively run away from your problems instead of facing them head on.
Run, Forrest, run! Run, Forrest!
I was beginning to enjoy the film at this point, until I saw another trope it was trying to promote. Ableism. Not only does he break away from his leg braces, but then he begins to run at super speed. What an insult to our disabled community. They can't all just one day start walking because they feel like it.
This super speed continues to dangle in front of those who can't walk as Forrest gets older. Here you can see his KKK friends are angry he missed the last Klan meeting and Jenny tells him to run away again. In the pursuit, by dumb luck, Forrest runs on a football field and the local male toxicity specialist instantaneously puts him on the team. See? White privilege. Why does football reward players on their skill set and not their beliefs?
Football gets him into college because he's too stupid to be accepted on brains alone. Forrest even supports black people attending his college, which is racist. We need safe spaces like the ones in Seattle. They understand inclusivity through segregation. Forrest exercises further privilege, meeting the American president just because he plays football.
Congratulations. How do you feel?
I gotta pay.
Why don't presidents meet real winners like blue check marks on Twitter, rock, paper, scissors league champions, or the real athletes from the Extreme Ironing League?
At this point, the woman of color had enough of the story and leaves. We should have taken her advice too. But like the stunning and brave independent mother who jumps in, we continue to listen. And regret it, we did. Forrest keeps recounting his tale, revealing his unhealthy obsession with Jenny. He stalks her at her university, normal behavior of the patriarchy, and even assaults one of her boyfriends. Forrest follows Jenny to her dorm and attempts to sexually assault her. Incels don't know how to handle a real woman.
Forrest manages to graduate college because he's white, even though he's an idiot, and is encouraged to join the army so he can kill ethnicities. Here he meets Bubba, Forrest's polar opposite. He's black, uneducated, and his ancestors were slaves. Forrest decides it's a good idea to be Bubba's friend, as he will need a human shield on the battlefield.
It's really no surprise Forrest is built for the army. He takes orders well, has the right haircut, and he puts a gun together real well like a natural-born white supremacist.
Jesus H. Christ! This is a new company record.
Meanwhile, Bubba, a Buddha of peace, just wants to focus on his dream, his shrimping business.
There's pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp.
Forrest, however, is too preoccupied to think about shrimp, as his dream is to kidnap and possess Jenny through a contraption called marriage. He discovers in a tasteful magazine she actually accomplished her dream. Jenny is now a classy folk artist, but Forrest ruins everything with his toxic masculinity.
What are you doing here? Come on. Let me down!
She didn't need saving.
Irate, Jenny tells Forrest to stay away from her and that Forrest's obsession has convinced Jenny that he is a dangerous stalker.
Wait, Jenny.
Forrest, you stay away from me, okay? You just stay away from me, please.
Jenny wisely hitches a ride with a complete stranger to get away from Forrest.
Can I have a ride?
Where you going?
I don't care.
In the truck.
Upset and sexually frustrated, Forrest goes to release his negative energy in Vietnam, excited to destroy villages, kill babies, and rape women as the real vets did back in the 70s. Here he meets his new toxic mentor, Lieutenant Dan, a man who comes from a long line of warmongers.
Here, Forrest and Lieutenant Dan hunt across the land by day, while Forrest sends Jenny death threats by mail at night. That is, until one day their platoon is attacked. The platoon is outgunned and outsmarted, proving that the American military are just a bunch of toxic males LARPing in different countries. Instead of dying with honor with his fellow soldiers, Forrest runs away like the coward he is.
Naturally, Forrest is the first to escape the jungle until he realizes a way out of POW camp. He can use the wounded as bartering chips for his own freedom. Forrest runs back into the jungle, collecting his platoon mates as if they were Bitcoin. He even manages to get the most valuable Bitcoin of all, Lieutenant Dan. Forrest risks his own life, even saving Bubba his property, and gets shot in the butt. I would have preferred his small penis, but we take what we can get here.
The end result of Forrest's selfish and hateful actions? Lieutenant Dan has no legs, Bubba dies, and the rest of the platoon is either crippled or dead. Meanwhile, Forrest gets an easy wound to heal from, spare time to become a ping pong pro while being paid, and all the ice cream he can eat. The president even awards him the Medal of Honor, as they foolishly believed Forrest saved those soldiers with no intention to use them as monopoly meat. Forrest shows the president his ass to mock him and gets away with it. White privilege, anybody?
During his visit in DC, like a true predator, he infiltrates the very first women's march to get closer to female prey. There he sees Jenny, who believes Forrest has reformed his evil ways, and they meet to hug. In the 60s, it was common to cheer for heterosexuality.
Jenny, foolishly believing Forrest has changed his ways with his fake speech, introduces him to the original BLM leaders.
Our purpose here is to protect our black leaders from the racial onslaught of the pig who wishes to brutalize our black leaders, rape our women, and destroy our black community.
She even has a new awesome socialist boyfriend who knows how to treat a lady. Of course, Forrest shows his true ape-like mentality, and that he really hasn't changed at all. His actions get Jenny kicked out of BLM.
Not knowing what to do, Jenny travels lost and confused with Forrest following her. She tells Forrest of her magical journey through life and her self-discovery. Thankfully, in the end, Jenny's boyfriend takes her back.
Things got a little out of hand.
But Forrest still tries to stake his claim with his possessive mentality.
You're my girl.
Through ping pong and killing Charlie, Forrest becomes a celebrity without the crutch of social media. Only Lieutenant Dan sees this false personality for what he really is through his newly abled point of view. He even acts appropriately as a wheelchair user. What realism!
It seems Lieutenant Dan has been the first to receive what we should all be getting: universal basic income from the government, with slaving away at a job as optional. Lieutenant Dan is so grateful for the government's sensibilities. This has allowed Lieutenant Dan to enjoy his hobbies such as drinking. Man, this guy must get dehydrated really fast.
Lieutenant Dan gives Forrest a home, and they spend plenty of quality time together. He even celebrates New Year's with Forrest and great friends.
What are you, stupid or something? What's your problem?
Don't feel too bad for Forrest. He can't get an erection unless he hits her first for looking at a Chad. Jenny, meanwhile, spends New Year's Eve as a strong, independent woman. You go, girl! Literally.
Forrest is released from the army and goes home because he's a mama's boy. He receives a large amount of money through his ping pong merchandising and decides to use it for capitalistic evil. He steals Bubba's shrimp business for his own, angering the local black community.
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is as stupid does, sir.
Forrest, being the lunatic incel he is, names the fishing boat after the woman who he's currently stalking. Jenny, by the way, is living the Forrest-free life full of nonconformity and bravery. Look at how happy she is.
Back on the bayou, Forrest can't find shrimp because he is stupid. Then Lieutenant Dan shows up to be his first mate because he is also stupid. Who gives up perfectly good UBI to work for a living? They both look for shrimp but find none because together they are both stupid. Forrest gets even stupider as he decides to pray for shrimp. The lunkhead even goes to the wrong church.
This blatant act of racism angers God, and he shows up to fight Forrest. Forrest and Lieutenant Dan barely survive, and in the process, all the boats in the area are destroyed. This gives these two morons a shrimp cartel on the water, and they become rich overnight. Jesus fucking Christ, this film is brimming with white privilege.
Then boring bullshit happens from here on in. Forrest's mother gets sick, Forrest runs all the way home, too stupid to take a taxi. His mom dies anyways. And Jenny makes a mistake of returning to Forrest. I assumed it was to serve him a restraining order, but it seems she just needed a place to crash. Or after all these years being pursued by Forrest, she developed Stockholm Syndrome.
Here, Forrest asks her to marry him, but Jenny's too brave to accept his offer. She has sex with him instead and leaves him forever. A tear of joy rolled down my eye, seeing Jenny accept feminism over cancerous patriarchy.
Forrest, being the king of the morons, decides that she's after her, literally. He runs all across Alabama and the United States to find her.
Why are you doing this?
I just felt like running.
Forrest stops because he gets tired and hopefully realizes he's an idiot when someone tells him he could just Facebook her. I'm sure they had the internet in 1981.
The movie ends with Forrest finding Jenny and telling her to marry him. Jenny foolishly agrees, and Forrest kills her and then steals her child. Forrest even names Jenny's son after him and assumes its gender without letting it decide. That's the end of this awful film.
As you can see, Forrest Gump is the epitome of white privilege. All he does is work hard and stay consistent in his habits leading to success. And when life gets tough, he faces his problems head on in the face of adversity. This is completely racist. This movie is supposed to be interesting? Forrest's whole privileged life is like a box of chocolates. No one's ever gonna give a shit. Why did Tom Hanks have to play the character? Why couldn't they find a real retard from Alabama? This is just insulting to the disabled community.
Forrest's friend Bubba gets very little screen time, which is typical in Hollywood these days. The producer probably said give the darky 5 minutes, then kill him. At least Bubba's family gets reparations at the end of the day. Seems that Forrest understands white folk should be giving their money earned to black folk for the rest of their lives for an incident that took place 150 years ago. If this idiot gets it, why doesn't the rest of America?
Lieutenant Dan is just another warmonger Republican who gets his legs blown off, which was great. Then he gets new legs from NASA because he's too good for a wheelchair.
Magic legs.
There are literally no consequences for white people in this movie.
Jenny is a real star of the film here. She lives an emancipated life full of traveling, promiscuity, drug use, and anti-war rallies. This is what modern feminism is all about. But in the end, she loses all this as she wears the shackles of marriage, working an honest job, and bearing children, adding to the climate crisis. In the end, her life is taken by the patriarchy. The camera guy had to follow a white feather around and wins an award for it. Big fucking deal. Looks like you can win an award for just about anything as long as you're white.
This theme just screams how great it is to be white.
We give this film 0 out of 10 soy milks. Because it won awards for hard work by white people, stars a hard-working white male, and promotes conservative values and whiteness.
We also give it 10 out of 10 Molotov cocktails to get this offensive content banned and burned forever!
Your silence is violence. Subscribe, like, and share to get this Drek banned.